The prosecution established today that someone in the Anthony home was Googling the term chloroform. Listen to this.
The search term is ampersand Q for query how to make chloroform, spelled with an A.
All right, so if I'm understanding you correctly, the user at the time had their Google search engine up, typed in how to make chloroform?
Yes?
What the jury did not hear, and what I want you all to remember at home, is an interview with Maya Perkovic. Now, Maya is a former inmate of Casey's, a fellow inmate who claimed that Casey told her, I guess in jail, that she was using chloroform to knock Kaylee out.
She would pour it on like a rag, like a wash rag, and put it over the baby's face. So she'll inhale it, and that will knock her out.
Did she say what she used to knock her out?
I can't pronounce it. Chloroform.
Again, we can't confirm that report, but that's interesting, isn't it? Even though it makes who's rejoining me next, criminal defense attorney Mark Eigler, jump out of his skin.
You're kidding me.
we also, hold on, you'll have your day. We also have with us criminal profiler Pat Brown. Pat, I'm going to start with you since I know what Mark's position is on that woman. How believable do you think that woman is?
Because, I mean, they like to make up crap just to get attention. So I don't think that's a really strong thing for the prosecution to use. I'm much happy with the fact that somebody's at the home looking up chloroform, and what a coincidence, the child ends up in a trunk with chloroform fumes around her. And, you know, what's really interesting, Dr. Drew, is that when people plan crimes, they never... When they're in their thinking stage, this is before they're actually planning a crime, they're just ideating, you know, I wonder about this, and I wonder about that, kind of like you thinking about a trip and you put it into your computer. You haven't planned the trip yet, so you don't really think of that as evidence. And then when you do decide to go ahead with something, you forget that you've already put all those search engines in. You really left a trail behind you.
Does she fit a profile of someone who was a premeditated killer, or do you think perhaps, my little theory is the chloroform was, you know, what she used to substitute for Xanax or something else, and just things went too far?
No, I absolutely believe this was a premeditated homicide. I think she had gotten to the point where she wanted that child out of her life. She was causing too much trouble, and she was sick of her mother interfering. She wanted Kaylee gone, and I believe she strategically looked up how to do her in, especially with that duct tape. I believe she basically euthanized her child, like you would take your dog to the to the vet and say, okay, put him down. You know, got her child, put the chloroform over, child went out, nice and quiet, then she just wrapped that tape around her. Child wasn't breathing anymore, took her away.
All right. Listen, a little self-reveal here. When I hear Pat say that, I literally dissociate myself. I can't get my head around that behavior. It's just too gruesome even to think about. But
maybe I'm more psychopathic than you. Is that it?
Well, I guess so. But one thing I want to remind people is, listen, I can be wrong. I'm happy to be wrong that my little theory about the Xanax and the chloroform is too kind and gentle a theory. I'm happy to be wrong and learn from my mistakes. I mean, we all need to do
something with that tape. What are you doing with that tape, though? Why is there duct tape around this child's nose and her mouth?
Well, and then why, if you kill your kid in a premeditated way, do you then put a little heart sticker on it and wrap her in Winnie the Pooh blankets and things? I mean, that's...
No, that's how a psychopath, when she finishes with her job, says, I'm not such a bad person. I'm now going to give her a nice little burial and treat her well. And then she can justify what she has done and then go on her way, cleaning that part of the slate.
Between you and Mark telling me the truth doesn't matter, I'm nearly apoplectic. But let's keep going here. In addition, hang on, Mark, give me a second. In addition to the chloroform and neck-breaking searches found on the Anthony home computer, what the jury has not heard are the other equally bizarre findings on the laptop. This is Casey's laptop now. In July of 2008, police found a cartoon drawing of a little girl staring at a teddy bear hanging from a noose under a tree. There it is. Caption reads, why do people kill people who kill people? To show people that to kill people is bad. Mark, do you make any of that? I mean, you should ruminate. I don't think about things like that, about killing people and what are people going to do when I kill people? Is that what she's thinking?
Just a coincidence. And let me just say this. If the prosecution's relying on that piece of evidence, or we got to get back to that snitch, that woman, Maya. Again, I was trying to read the tattoo on her neck. I think it said, not worthy of belief. I'm not sure. It was in script, so I couldn't see for sure. But that's a rat who's willing to say anything to get her cheese, you do not put her on the stand. This
Okay.
case should not come down to that type of
So
evidence.
you think if those sorts of evidence, I have some other evidence. Here's another piece the jury hasn't seen yet. It concerns a picture of Casey with Kaylee dressed in a pink t-shirt that said, quote, "Big trouble comes in small packages." The embroidered words shredded from the t-shirt were then found with the skeletal remains of Kaylee. Now, apparently in the state's attorney's office in Florida, authorities revealed they believe Kaylee was intentionally placed in the shirt because of what it says. Mark, if they start getting to that stuff,
the defense will salivate. You take away from the solid evidence that you have and you start to speculate. And you let Jose Baez go off and say, what? This is what the prosecution's grasping at? Don't do that. Don't undermine this filet mignon with fat on the end of the steak.
Pat, anything you make of that T-shirt? I've got just 1 minute left here.
I've got the same thought on the cartoon and the T-shirt. You don't want to put anything out there that somebody in the jury says, well, heck, I have that cartoon because I'm a anti-death penalty person. That little shirt, I bought that for my child. You don't want to have them relate to what Casey is doing as just something that's actually normal and thinking the prosecution's desperate. No, I would not put that stuff out there either.
Pat, one more thing for you, because I only have this one segment with Pat here, is that people tend to behave in patterns. I mean, that's why you can practice things like medicine. Break through my denial. Tell me again, people behave like this. There are people out there that are psychopathic and do this, and you've seen this.
Absolutely. I mean, psychopaths do
All
not
right.
care about other people. When those people get in their way, they get rid of them.
All right. Thank you, Pat. Thank you, Mark, again, of course. Astonishing news being reported right now by the New York Times tonight. Congressman Anthony Weiner's wife is pregnant. That adds a difficult twist to this entire story. I have grave concerns about where this story is going. Please, folks, keep in mind there's a human being at the end of this drama, and we're going to talk about it after the break.